Thanks for joining us. It's Indie Agency News. Let's meet an indie agency. All right, we are heading down to Los Angeles, the land of good weather, and our Action News weather team, Walter May, joining us. No, that's a little bit of an inside joke, because when we were prepping for this call, we started talking about the weather. Then I started talking about my gray hair and like how I like to eat dinner at 4 p.m, things like that. But Alex Gardner and Walter May of London Alley in Los Angeles, and we'll get a vibe for the name of this a little bit later. But welcome, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for letting us be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Amazing. So let's kick off. So I've already obviously clearly said the name of the agency. People can see it. When was the agency founded? And you're located in Los Angeles. So when were you founded, and how did this whole thing kick off for you?
So London Alley was actually founded back in 2019. Originally, one of the original music video production companies based in Los Angeles. Really kind of just any big music video you've ever seen. Arianna Grande, Demi Lovato, the Jonas Brothers, did all of those. Through that door, kind of got a lot more production work. And then through that production work in the last couple years, Walter has been overseeing creative campaign creation for some brands and actually applying creative thinking to London Alley and a lot of those projects. And so London Alley Creative Studio was actually founded under the radar a couple of years ago, but officially in January of this year with Walter and I at the helm, looking at more direct to brand projects.
Yeah, just to kind of add on that, we've had over a decade of working in the music video space, which led to commercials, which led to new media opportunities. So as we were, slowly saying, like, getting opportunities from, let's say, Ariana Grande, hey, help me with my fragrance line. You guys did my music videos. Who else understands me and my brand?
Yeah.
They were giving us those type of opportunities. And both of us have a traditional agency background, or at least I have some of it. She has a deep agency background. So we started incubating the idea of having an agency-like object with the production company a few years ago. But really this year is, we're investing in it, pushing that more into the forefront, wanting people to see, hey, this is what we can offer and do, not only just for if you're a big superstar, but if you're just a brand and you want to, have our skill set of creating these viral music video moments or entertaining pieces of content, etc. So
that's cool.
It's there's no real date that we say this is when we were founded. It's just like an evolution, right?
Yeah, that's the way most of this happens, right? You never know where it's
like,
going to go.
Make a business out of this? Let's try it. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I mean, I think you've really articulated where your core strengths are, and you've also mentioned what you're best known for. I have to imagine that you and Walter, you had called this out. Like, you look at the type of work that you're doing, and if I'm a brand, I'd be like, well, like, how do you get them from like maybe to, yeah, you know what, we should definitely talk? Because you're right. I think I think that sometimes brands can't necessarily see themselves like, oh, they're doing all this stuff with Ariana Grande. Like, we're not like that. But what kind of conversation would you have with a brand that might have that vibe?
Should we start with just what we felt was broken in sort
of
no,
that's really good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
I think we can do that. Or there's several parts of this conversation. Never like one answer, right?
Yeah.
So
I think, at least from my experience on the agency side, one of the most frustrating things was working with a brand, coming up with a great creative idea, then sort of putting the talent in it. And then it gets down the line of client approvals and, this deck blindly goes to either a musical artist or celebrity talent, and it's not the thing that they want to invest in. It's not the thing they want to make. It's not the opportunity they want to be a part of. And, you're not always at the table for those conversations. It's not right for the talent. It might not be right for the brand. And trying to push those two things together often takes a lot of time and energy. And as we all know, culture moves very quickly, and getting content made resonates in culture is super important. And so by the time those things get done, it's almost like, that cultural moment has passed us. And so what I think is amazing about London Alley is, and Walter, an incredible Rolodex of talent in, music and non-music. We are working with them on a daily basis on the music video side. We understand the things that they want to be a part of, that they want to do, the brands that they have a true love for, and it's really authentic, and how we match a brand to that talent and creatively concept around the two things together quickly, and get something created quickly with our production background in mind and out into the world before that moment has passed. And I think, we can't necessarily say the name of the talent or the brand, but we just did something where all those things were really pulled together in a 6-week process. And we're having all of those conversations at the same time with all of the partners that, need to be at the table together, and getting it made and out in the world in less than, really 8 weeks, I think, kind of from start to finish.
Yeah, and that talent was in front of the client within 36 to 48 hours. It was crazy. But the other thing to add to that is, we're understanding where the talent wants to go, not something that they had just done or what they were known for 6 months ago. We're having conversations with them of like, okay, this is my next album cycle. This is the creative for my album cover. These are the type of music videos that I want to do. And we're seeing that 3 to 6 months out before they're releasing that. So we have an idea of the brand that they're trying to create for themselves. And as we know, like when brands work with other brands, and we consider artists and celebrities a brand in themselves, they want to be doing things that are future facing rather than chasing the curve of how culture is moving. Not only that, but also we were seeing our work from a production standpoint referenced in a lot of the boards that we were getting to shoot commercials for. So it's just like, well, this is creative that we thought of, a year or so ago that we were executing on. What doesn't a client deserve an opportunity to like be way more relevant, like sooner? And like, how do we get to that? And
an agency would put together a mood board for what they're trying to shoot, and within that mood board would be screen captures of some of the music videos that we had produced for artists.
So it's like we just realized, hey, there's an offering here. Like, it's not just like exclusive for music artists and stuff like that. Everybody needs a creative POV and wants to tell a story, whether you're a brand, whether it's just a human interest piece, or we're just trying to be the best storytellers.
I think to that, not only a story, but an authentic one that feels right for the talent, for the brand, and for not something, I always reference, what was it? The Britney Spears Pepsi when she was caught drinking a Coca-Cola, or the other way around. And, it's like, how do we bring, talent together with brands that feel authentic, that, there are things they really do want to be a part of, and stories they do really want to tell as well.
And then to add to that, an additional side, these celebrities are investing into brands themselves. They're becoming founders. They're becoming like lead investors in rounds and stuff like that. So they're willing to have a stake in the brand at times. And we want to help them, guide them through that process. And, if you are working with a traditional agency, you might be used to this way, but now that you are part of the board of this brand, how can we best represent you and yourself authentically, of like being a lover of this product, or somebody who made this product? I think the whole industry saw how Jessica Alba did that and was like very like,
oh yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a great point. Yep. Yeah.
So other celebrities are seeing that opportunity, and rather than just being a spokesperson or an endorser of the brand, they are being like really truly part of the brand. So
yeah, that's true. Speaking of authentic, Walter, your chain game is very, very strong.
Walter's entire family game is one to be admired for sure.
So one of our partners here, Brandon, he has a silver chain collection, and I have this gold chain collection.
All right, hold on. I grew up. I'm half Italian. I grew up in an Italian family, so I'm going to zoom back in. Okay, so man, damn, yeah, look at that. All right, do you have stories on any of these, or I mean, it's kind of like...
I grew up in Texas, so I have a little Texas here. I also love LA so much that I have a little LA here.
Okay.
This one has an ODB rap lyric on it engraved. Says shimmy shimmy yam, shimmy ya, shimmy yay.
I'm very, very familiar, having worked in hip hop for 5 years. Yes.
Oh, nice. So it's just things that remind me of like who I am, where I came from. Also, yeah, I just think it looks good too.
We'll have to get Doug to the London Alley Christmas party if you worked in hip hop for years. Mace performed last year. So.
Mace performed last year. We had Coolio
$E. Woo!
Yeah. Harlem World. It was nice. Yeah, we have fun things like that. I think, you know, we get into that later.
We try to have some fun.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Now, how many are at the agency now, at the shop, at the studio?
So we kind of,
45-ish.
We flow between different types of groups, right? We have our traditional production team, which has a few executive producers, some graphic design, some treatment writers. And then we have on the creative studio side, we flex up depending on what our projects are, but we have several writers on staff, a couple creative directors, and some art directors and designers, Alex and I. And then we have another group that, and then all the directors on rosters. Like the other interesting thing about what we do is we pull the directors in really early and we identify them as a creative partner on the project with us, especially if a client is like, oh, I really want to work with Hannah, or I really want to work with James. And we like get them talking with us, and you know, the creative studio side being a conduit of like making sure that those conversations are moving in a direction that is actually productive, rather than just like saying hi to each other. And like,
we even had on this recent project, we have a fairly new creative director who came over from, I'll just say, an agency, and was working at a more traditional agency on a more traditional account. We're putting together this work that I spoke about with a brand and talent. And he got to sit at the table, obviously with Walter and myself, but then Hannah as the director was there as well. And his mind was just blown by, he was like, at an agency, we would be doing all of this without the director at the table as a creative partner. And being able to do this early on and infusing it into really the writing of the script and the scenes and the visuals. He was like, it's just, you're bypassing so many steps, or you're expediting so many steps that you would usually go through at an agency before it even got to that point.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting because, you know, it's funny, we have these list of questions. You've answered pretty much everything thus far. No, which is good, I mean, I love it. But like, I'm really curious now, just knowing the size and the way that you're structuring, you're structuring the studio. Why should talent put you guys on their list? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, but I also, you know,
there's so many reasons. Yeah.
I mean, I think the you know, like, the beauty is the world is changing, the advertising space is changing, and I think brands and clients have so many needs. I think, you know, we can be complementary to a brand that already has a big agency and a strategic and creative platform for really interesting cultural content, and we can work directly with a brand, you know, to create that. I think that the beauty of us is all that we call a multi-hyphenates. You know, everybody's wearing a lot of hats. We're small, we're nimble, but we're mighty. And we actually just really love doing, you know, just creating. And it's like, what's the best solution for a client? So we're just trying to be a good creative partner. So anybody that's got a creative team or a smaller internal creative team that just wants to make some awesome content that resonates in culture, whether it be with talent or without, I think is like, come talk to us, come hang out, come, you know, sit in our offices and see the directors come in and out. Or, you know, even if it's a brand that's not big enough for a big agency, that's not at all, you know, where we're necessarily playing. It's like that, just, we want to be creative thought partners. So if that's what you're looking for, I think.
Well, I think it's, hey, it's an opportunity not to just work on one account. We're never just gonna like, hey, you're working on this thing. There's so many creative heavy hitters that walk through the door. So there's the exposure to that. I think we create a diverse place too. Like, I think one of our philosophies is like, hey, you need a place that's diverse so you can have the perspective, so you can be authentically cool to the different groups of people that we're trying to reach out to. So like, you can genuinely be yourself, because we're a yes and type of place where it's like, oh, why do you love that? Yes, and that works with the client because of this, right? So we want your perspective. We don't want to just tell you exactly what to do, or like say, no, it has to be like this, or the client said that. It's more coming from like, hey, we want to inspire your creativity, throw gasoline on it, and let you actually make stuff, because there's nothing worse than doing a bunch of creative work and you don't make it.
I think that's how we sold. We hired this creative director a few months ago from a traditional agency, and we're like, look, you're not going to work on one account. You're going to work on a lot of new business. One day it could be blind ideas, trying to just, get somebody's attention. It could be writing a script for something that's actually, a creative idea. It could be music video help. It could be album work, album art cover for one of our, musical talents. Like, who knows what shape the day will take. And he was just like really energized by A, being able to create more, and B, being able to create things that were different for different brands. So he got to things.
An example of a story that happened this week is we had a major music video that we were shooting with 2 huge artists and a brand associated with it.
I like where this is going, by the way.
For a different entertainment property, and the head of the record label said, hey, I know you're making this big thing for us, and this is like the day before the shoot. He's like,
it might have been the day of.
It was the day. They're like, can you write some TikToks for us so we can, help promote all these things that are coming together? And we're on Discord now, right? If you haven't played with Discord as a organization, it's game changing. It's fun, right? So we instantly started a channel. We said, hey, what are the cool TikToks that are happening? So everybody who wanted to participate was like, I love this TikTok. I love this. We can recreate this. So we had 15 scripts written in about
And this was the
30
agency
minutes.
channel on Discord. So it was everyone at the agency, not just creatives.
And then we went out the next day, shot it, showed it to the head of the record label the day after the video shoot. He's like, this is exactly what I needed. Like, that type of turnaround and creativity, and like really being a part of culture where we were like right on top of the trend for the thing that is going to be the next trend. That's like, where else can you get to play in a sandbox like that?
Yeah, that's true. All right,
here for sure.
And you might get a gold chain from me one day, because I buy a gold chain for people. That's the icing on top.
No bribery.
No, I love it. So you said sandbox. Are you in Venice? Are you in Culver? Where are you?
Culver's.
It's technically Culver, so it's right in between Playa, Venice, Marina Bay area. Like, our next door neighbors are Tom Brady's production company and South Park. So we have some creative juggernauts and some legends surrounding us.
I think when Brady's company launched the McGregor, they did the production on the McGregor documentary on Netflix. So we all got invited over there as
that's cool.
Production world. So there's a lot of that inner.
We have a shared ping pong table. So
it's the quintessential agency. Look, we've got a ping pong.
No, but it's shared between all those 3 companies. So you might just get a ping pong game with some of those people. That's
very funny, as long as there's money involved. And as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I have no comment about Tom Brady, but okay. Alex, turn to your right over your shoulder, please. Turn to your right. Who is that behind there? I think that's somebody's head. I want that person to stand up and say hi behind you.
Oh, it's a mirror.
Oh, that's a mirror. Oh my God. Oh, it's just like, who is that person? It was your head. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like an idiot now. I was just like, oh, there it is.
I thought this was just some weird, like, hey.
I thought it was hilarious. No, right.
Really
right. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Cheadle. We're surprising everybody. No, that was hilarious. Okay. I thought that was like, okay. That's a visual illusion. This is why we should do some of these things in person. One question that we like to ask is there a CMO or a marketer that you want to wave to and say hi? It could be somebody you work with or somebody that you want to work with. Who would you want to say hello to?
Walter and I both have dream brands.
Yeah.
So
I've thought of this a lot. I really want to work with somebody who's like, I don't want you to say the word disruptor, but I just said it out loud. So when you say
Right, go ahead.
somebody who's just doing something unique and different that hasn't really taken a big swing, that is going to be like changing the face. And I think there's a couple of people that come to mind. To me, two that kind of resonate is like, I love what Rivian is doing. We all know what Tesla did, but Rivian is like coming out
Interesting.
with beautiful looking. I think people have seen Rivian stuff. I don't think they've done like a big national campaign or like any like huge media push that on the level of what another automotive manufacturer would do. So I'd be interested to meet them just because I want to say like, what, you're not doing things in the traditional ways that like automotive manufacturers are doing things. Let's continue that trend with how you're creating content and telling your story, etc. That or the MSG group with their new dome that they created in Las Vegas, right? I think from a technical aspect and how they're pushing music to the next, live music performance to the next evolution of what it can be, I think that fits in with what we're doing, like having such a music-based background, pushing things. I don't know. So between those are like brands that I don't feel like the rest of the world really knows yet, or the Vegas thing, like everybody knows the MSG group, but
right,
what they're creating there, and then Rivian with the product lines that they're coming out with, and we're just down the street from them, so we get to see these cars drive by all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just like salivating every single time because they're beautiful, and that's the new kid in town, right?
Yeah, Alex.
I have a category and a specific brand. The specific brand is out of just pure love from working in the new business landscape. I am a diehard Celsius drinker. I think I run Celsius. Every agency I've ever worked at has made the ongoing joke that I just power through Celsius. Probably not great for me. Supply it to the new business teams. How Celsius has not put a Celsius fridge in every ad and production company agency, I don't know. But yeah, would just love, we started working with a beverage company and we have a full fridge full now. So Celsius would love to meet those guys or girls, and talk to them, and just a big lover of the brand. And then I think as a category, the sexual wellness space is still, I think, really tapped.
Yep.
I think there's still a little taboo around it. Some celebrities have dabbled in it, but nobody's really come out and like gotten behind any of the brands. And there's some really great brands out there, that are really interesting, and I don't think have kind of, to Walter's point, created that disruption kind of content that they should totally own. And it would just be like a fun, interesting space. I, off the top of my head, can't think of an agency, creative studio that's done any work in that space that's really kind of captured my attention.
Interesting. That's real. I love it. This is great. This is why we ask these questions, so that we can have these interesting conversations.
Sexual wellness. I think we covered,
It describes a lot of things.
It does. No, this is great. And I look forward to getting down to Culver and seeing all of you. And
mark your calendar for the Christmas party, if not before.
Yeah, we just moved into a beautiful new space, which is right next door to our old space. But we were expanding so fast.
Very easy to move. Right. Very easy to move. Yeah.
It's not easy to move,
but a lot of decorating happening right now.
Yeah. Chances are that's awesome. Chances are you'll probably see me during the holidays and probably before, maybe a couple of times. So yes, but this was great. I'm so glad we had a chance to chat, and so great to better understand where you're tracking as a studio and the impact that you make, and for waving that indie flag for everybody. Thanks so much for joining us.